So I'm out and about, just running some errands, getting some lunch at Firehouse Subs, and I look at my oil pressure gauge, and I can hardly see it. I'll get out of the truck so you can see what I'm talking about. But see how it's half full? The face of the gauge is filled with oil. Let me show you. Look at that. The face of the gauge is filled with oil. But it's also leaking a bit, but it's not too bad. It's actually maintaining oil pressure, but need to fix that pretty quick. But yeah, that right there is the reason that I didn't put this gauge inside the truck, because those are known to bust and piss oil everywhere if you have actual fluid flowing through the line. So it's time to just get a electric one with a remote sensor. So that's what I'm gonna do, but hopefully this makes it home before it busts and pisses out all my oil. So that's cool. Alright, so I finally got a day off where I'm not doing anything. Got the truck pulled in the shop and gonna give it some love. There are quite a few things that I want to do to it, mostly small things. It has a very slight oil leak kind of towards the front, and I think I know where it is, so I'm gonna check that out. And then, like I mentioned before, this oil gauge is busted and leaking a lot of oil out, and I keep having to top it off. So I'm going to get rid of that one, and I got a glow shift one that's actually electric, so just the sensor will go where the old one plugged in, and then I'll just run a wire and mount this gauge actually inside, so that'll look a lot nicer too and be more reliable and not leak oil everywhere. Other than that, I'm just loading up some scrap metal and stuff for my builds to haul off, and I need to do a few things inside. Something with the wiring is causing the wiper fuse to blow, and so I need to fix that so I can have wipers, and I got new wipers to put on, and just a few small things here and there, nothing big. So just giving this thing some love, as has been nice and reliable, and it just needs a few things. So alright, so one main thing I've been wanting to do to this truck for a while is to fix the coolant reservoir. Basically this one over here I think is just too far away, and see how the line goes up and down to get there. I think that it just doesn't work effectively, so the truck gets a little bit warm sometimes. So I'm just going to make one like I made on the Mustang, like their premium fuel mag guy came up with. And basically I'm just going to have it sit right here and design it the exact same way, and it should allow the coolant to overflow and expand and then suck back in when it cools down. So yeah, that should work nice, and I'm going to get started gluing it together and all that good stuff. Alright, so while the glue is setting on the bottom of the thing, I went ahead and started working on the top. So basically I just took a hole saw and drilled a hole in the top here, and I've just got this bung. I'm going to use the same glue to attach this bung here, and then there's just a little lid here, so it'll look exactly like the other one basically. I think the lid's a little bit different, but you know, it's the same thing. So I'm going to glue that in, and then I will glue the entire top onto that. But first, before I can glue the top onto that, I will have to use this pipe, and it'll be on the inside just like the other one, so that, let's see if I can explain it. Alright, so this pipe here will be on the inside there. I'll drill a hole through the bottom, and the pipe will be up to the top, and once the water fills all the way up, it will drain out through the inside of the thing, through the pipe, and out the bottom of the thing. So it's just an easy way to drain it from the inside, and it just looks cleaner from the outside. So I will have to drill a hole and put that pipe in, and then I can glue this on top. And then I also have to drill a hole and attach this to the bottom so that the hose has a place to plug into. So that's the plan for this thing. I'm gonna go ahead and get it together. Alright, so now I'm taking a look at the fuse for the windshield wipers. They haven't been working, and sure enough, it's blown. And the reason it's blown is because I tapped into it for power for the horn. Whenever I went to get the truck inspected, you have to honk the horn to pass the inspection here. And so I just took a random horn I had laying around and grounded it in here and wired it up to that. You know, it worked, and I was able to honk the horn and pass inspection, but at some point it came loose on the ground, and I'm sure it shorted out and blew the fuse. So now I am going to do it right. I'm going to actually put the horn up here someplace and actually probably put 2 horns if I have to, so it's nice and loud, and run the wire and make it waterproof and stuff like that. Make the ground really good so it doesn't happen again. So that is the plan. I'll throw a new fuse in here, wire it all back up, and put new blades on there, and I'm good to drive this thing in the rain once again. Alright, we got the horn mounted up, and I just basically put a screw in right here to hold it. Looks fine, matches the truck really, and then got it grounded right here, and basically just use a self-tapper and a ring terminal, also filed down to bare metal there, so she's got a good ground. And then I just extended that power wire out here, and then just threw a new fuse in. Wired it back up the way that it was with a good ground this time. So now, when the truck's on, we have wipers and a horn. Not bad. On to the next thing. Something else that's been bugging me about the truck is that these hood pins, they're working great, but the screws on them are backing out. So I'm just going to take all the screws out and put them in with rivets. And while I have them off, I'm going to take a drill and move this thing as much as I can and drill these holes out just a little bit, because this one in particular is a little bit snug. So if I just drilled it out and the hole is just a little bit bigger, the hood would close a lot better. So I'm going to do that. Should just take a couple minutes. Both sides, probably throw some paint on here. This one's starting to rust a little bit. Wire brush it, throw some paint on it, and we'll be good. Okay, so riveting the hood pins was a huge success. It's much more solid now, and unfortunately I had to leave the screws up there because of the way that this thing's built. I can't get the rivet gun close enough to rivet it properly, but those screws weren't really loose, and it feels super solid with the rivets in there now, so it should be good. Got both sides done, and now I'm moving on to making a bracket for the expansion tank here, and it's actually done. All I did was take a clamp and self-tap it to the firewall there, and so that will hold the thing once it's all dried up and installed. So I've got it over here with the glue and JB Weld curing out. So that's going good. And now, as you can see, I'm moving stuff to get access to the front of the engine here. I've got a funny sound going on, like a squeaky bearing or something like that. And I tried spraying these front pulleys with WD-40 and it didn't stop, so it must be a pulley underneath the timing cover here. So I'm going to take the timing cover off and then put this belt back on and run it and spray some WD-40 and see if I can fix it. And also, of course, I have good access to the oil line here. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. I have good access to that now, so I'm going to take that off and put the sensor on and run the wire for the new one. Get rid of this silly broken one mounted on the hood. So yeah. Alright, so I took the belt off and went ahead and started the truck with no belt on there for the alternator and water pump, and it still made the noise, so I know that neither of those things are what's causing the noise. So I'm going to continue with taking pulleys off so I can get the timing cover off and get access to the bearings and see what's going on there. Alright, got the timing cover all the way off and put each bolt in its spot where it goes over here, because they're like all different sizes, so it's really annoying when you get them mixed up. Anyways, now I'm going to start it and stand out here and listen for the sound and spray some WD-40, see if I can't fix it, and also see if I can see if anything's leaking oil up here. I thought there was at one point, but it doesn't look like there's much, maybe a little bit. So anyways, I'm going to start it up and see what I see, and we'll go from there. So I started it, sprayed WD-40, and it continued to make the sound. And so I just went ahead and took the timing belt off, checked the tensioner. Tensioner was good. And then I just got around to spinning some things, and the oil pump, as you can tell, is making a lot of noise. So that's what it is. Unfortunately, when I rebuilt this thing, I just used the same one. I didn't replace it, so apparently that was a mistake. So I'm gonna have to take the front case apart and get at the oil pump. So that is what I'm working on.